Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more latest news. If you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So for my own preference, I think the Manchester United fans that are demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out a total disgrace, because obviously now quite a few Manchester United fans are coming pessimistic about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now, reflecting on our poor run of form and poor run performances and results. And it's just seemed to have all gone wrong, of course, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got the job permanently. For my own preference, I still think he's got the stature to command us in that position, and I still believe he can elevate Manchester United forward. But, reflecting back in his first 3 months, when he was the interim manager, the performances were good, the results were really, really good, and he exceeded expectations, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And it's just seemed to have all gone wrong, of course, since he's got the job permanently. Obviously, as we all know, it's a 3-year deal he's got. Obviously, in this 3-year period, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed expectations. But obviously, we've still got to back him. We've got to give him the summer to rebuild. Reportedly he's going to get around a £250 million spending spree this summer. And obviously, we can't keep sacking managers, because we haven't got the structure, to do that. Obviously, we know since Alex Ferguson's has retired, we do know a lot of money has been spent into the club, about what, £700 million. And of course, we've had different managers with different philosophies, and we've been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. So we've got to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time, to rebuild in the summer. Obviously, still in the process of rebuilding, obviously, because none of this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Obviously, we do know he hasn't got a great managerial pedigree. He hasn't really got the experience as a manager, but I'm still backing in and do believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can still take us forward. I do know that he managed the Manchester United reserve team, as I said, and he watched from this team at this day and age, grow and develop. But we've got to give him the summer, to spend money, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But we do potentially now, obviously, we know it's guaranteed now. We're not in Champions League football for next season. It is going to be hard for us, to attract players to the highest level. But it's good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is showing an interest he's emphasising an interest in quite a few young upcoming talents as well. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's identified the positions where he thinks Manchester United need to strengthen up, because you can see the deficiencies in the squad, and you can see the areas Manchester United are lacking. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, is looking to buy into our history. But we've definitely got to give him time, see who can bring in. And he's good, he's obviously said, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to have his final say on our summer transfer plans, who comes in, who goes out. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club, and I think we are expected to get rid of at least 5 or 6 this summer. But we definitely need structural change at the club. That's obviously getting a director of footballing. Obviously, there's been quite a few candidate names who could fulfil that director's role, but it would be ideal, to recommend someone who knows about the club and all that. So there has been quite a few names mentioned, but we've got to get a director of footballing, to change the structure of the club. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, is going to need backing this summer. We've got to get the right players that have got the ability to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years. But as I did say, now we're not in Champions League football. It's going to be hard for us, to attract players to the highest level. So now we'll give you a bit of an update on some current transfer rumours that are basically going on. More reports have come out about Bruno Fernandes. So over the weekend, I think reports were stemming from Portugal that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is demanding that Manchester United sign Bruno Fernandes for around £85 million. These still reports coming out saying that Manchester City are still interested in Bruno Fernandes, and it just reportedly said that Manchester City are in talks with Sporting Lisbon over the £42 million deal for Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes, I think, would be a very, very good solution for Manchester United. I think, we need some creativeness in that midfield, someone that can pose a goal threat. And Bruno Fernandes has got all of that, he can score goals, he can provide. I think Sporting Lisbon won 8-1 yesterday, didn't they? I think Bruno Fernandes got a hat-trick in that game. I think he also got an assist, and he's a very, very good player. And I think he has got a release clause of around £90 million in his deal with Sporting Lisbon. But Manchester United have been scouting him, based on his fantastic performances this season for Sporting Lisbon. But he can score goals, he can provide assists. But he's saying that Manchester United and Manchester City are interested in him. But Solskjaer, wants to get a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. So there has been a lot of talks about him going on. He's only 24 years of age. He's nearly heading into his prime. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. But I think if he was to come and experience the Premier League, he would produce and deliver the same element of the performances, that he has been doing with Sporting Lisbon this season. But he used to be, he's a former Sampdoria. He's also a former Udinese player. He's Bruno Fernandes. But Manchester United, of course, have been heavily linked to him. I still think he's got a contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. He's predominantly an attacking midfielder, so potentially, Manchester United would see him as a good replacement for Paul Pogba. So it's saying that Manchester United and Manchester City are heavily linked with Bruno Fernandes. But obviously, we need a couple of additions in that midfield. And obviously, as I said, if Paul Pogba leaves, obviously we're going to need 3 new additions in that midfield. Because obviously, what's going on with Paul Pogba. It's looking likely he's going to be going to Real Madrid in the summer. Reports came out the other day saying that Manchester United were demanding Rafael Varane and Toni Kroos in exchange for Paul Pogba. So we was demanding at least one of Real Madrid's players in return if we were willing, of course, to let Paul Pogba go. It did potentially say, Manchester United want around £160 million for Paul Pogba. But I said if we can sanction Pogba off this summer, it will help us with our transition. It will help us in our rebuilding process and it'll help us financially. Because as I said, we're going to get around £250 million this summer. But if we can get at least £130 million for Pogba, and if we can sanction Lukaku off, we could cash in around £200 million plus there. So that'll take it up to about £400 million. We've got to spend for this summer. But yeah, it did say Real Madrid are reluctant to pay £160 million for Paul Pogba. So potentially if Real Madrid reportedly want to get a deal over the line this summer, they've got to offload a couple of their players. And recent reports did basically say that Real Madrid are not willing to meet Paul Pogba's £290,000 a week wages. They're not willing to meet that at Real Madrid. So it did say reportedly, Paul Pogba will reportedly have to take a pay cut if he wants to join Real Madrid. Manchester United have been in negotiations of getting Paul Pogba a new contract at the club. Paul Pogba's still got over 2 years left on his deal with an option of a further year as well. So he's basically under contract until 2022. Reports came out the other week saying that Manchester United were willing to offer him the captain's armband on a permanent basis, to convince him to stay at the club. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been in talks with Paul Pogba, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer insists he'll still be at Manchester United next season. But obviously now we're not in Champions League football. Obviously a player of Paul Pogba's calibre, wants to be in Champions League football and wants to be playing to the highest level. And at Manchester United, he's not playing around a monster world-class players. Is Paul Pogba, and potentially this is the main reason. This is the main factor. Why Paul Pogba may want to leave. Obviously now he's been at Manchester United over 3 years. Manchester United paid £89 million for him from Juventus back in 2016. But he did okay in the Huddersfield game yesterday. He wasn't too bad in the Chelsea game, but prior to them games, his performances have been way below par. So that just emphasises that he doesn't want to be at Manchester United, Paul Pogba. And as I did say, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer managed Manchester United reserve team, watched from this team at this day and age, grow and develop. And of course, one of them was Paul Pogba. He has built a great relationship up with Paul Pogba as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, of course, last year when, of course, Jose Mourinho got sacked from the club because Paul Pogba had a bad relationship with Jose Mourinho. So he got one of his best wishes, did Pogba. But during that 3 months, Paul Pogba, was actually, one of our most influential players. He was scoring goals, he was providing. But I do think he wants to leave the club because he's told Manchester United teammates he's intending on leaving the club this summer. So it's still looking like he's going to Real Madrid. Reports came out from Spain, was it the other week, saying that allegedly he'd agreed the personal terms. It said he'd agreed the wages. It said Paul Pogba had agreed a £10 million a year deal with Real Madrid. So I still believe that he's going to Real Madrid. Is Paul Pogba, and he's still arguably one of the best midfielders in the world. Is Paul Pogba. He's still actually in his prime. He's 26 years of age. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. But as I did currently say, he's still one of the best in the world. Is Paul Pogba. But obviously now if we can get maybe 120, 130 million pounds for him, we could get 2 players for that money. But it did potentially say, if Rafael Varane was part of the deal for Paul Pogba, I would be really, really happy indeed. Rafael Varane is a defender, and obviously we're looking for a central defender, someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line, because we need a world-class central defender, because we haven't had one, since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand at the club, because we basically where we do need a central defender. But yeah, Rafael Varane, I'd love him to be part of the deal with Paul Pogba, Rafael Varane, and looking at it in that aspect, it would be much easier for us, to get Rafael Varane, if Paul Pogba was part of the deal, because, discarding the swap deal, Rafael Varane's going to cost you way over £100 million. But I don't think Real Madrid, want to actually, sanction Rafael Varane off. Rafael Varane is 25 years of age, so he's heading into his prime. It's remarkable what he's achieved as a 25-year-old. Rafael Varane, I think he's won about 15, 16 major honours with Real Madrid. He's been at Real Madrid about 8 years now, so he has spent the majority of his career in Spain with Real Madrid. I think his release clause in his current deal is around 429 million. Is Rafael Varane's, but Manchester United have been heavily linked to him, and it's remarkable what he's achieved. He reads the game very, very well. He shows that ability to play out from from the back, and I think he'd blend in very, very well in our back line with Victor Lindelof. And I think, you know, he'd replicate the performances, you know, if he came to the Premier League, you know, what he's been doing in these years. He has been in Spain with Real Madrid, but reports came out a while back saying that Rafael Varane is considering, you know, leaving Real Madrid this summer. But I don't think, you know, Real Madrid are willing to sanction him off. And Zinedine Zidane, of course, has emphasised his targets for this summer. Obviously, you know, I think he's going to get around £300 million to spend this summer. Zinedine Zidane, potentially, I think he's identified his two top targets, and that's obviously, you know, Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. But that's obviously, you know, going to cost Real Madrid over like £100 million, of course. But yeah, there has been talks, as I said, as Rafael Varane, you know. Toni Kroos is part of the deal for Paul Pogba. I probably would be happy with that, you know, because Toni Kroos has got a good pedigree. Toni Kroos, of course, has never ever played in the Premier League, and Toni Kroos is 29 years of age, so he is aging up. Is Toni Kroos? I think he's primarily a central midfielder, but he can also operate as a defensive midfielder as well. Can Toni Kroos? I think Manchester United before were on the verge of getting Toni Kroos. I think we're on the verge of getting him, but obviously, you know, we didn't come to an agreement to get him. He's a German midfielder. I don't really know much about Toni Kroos, to be quite honest. I know he's been at Real Madrid a number of years. I think this is now his 5th season with Real Madrid. Obviously, you know, he's a former Bayer Leverkusen player where I think he was on loan, and he actually began his career with Bayern Munich, you know, where he'd risen up the youth system and all that, Toni Kroos. So there has been talks that he could be part of the deal for Paul Pogba. There were talks as well about Gareth Bale and Paul Pogba as a potential swap deal, but I don't think Manchester United are keen on this happening, you know, to be quite honest with you, because you know that I've got strong reservations about Gareth Bale. You know, if you'd asked me 2 or 3 years ago, you know, I would have took Gareth Bale, because obviously, you know, he has been linked to Manchester United a number of years as Bale. I think we've been linked to him since like 2013. But as I said, if you'd asked me 2 or 3 years ago, I would have took Gareth Bale, obviously. But now he's 29 years of age. He's aging up. He's nearly 30 actually. He's aging up, as I said. He's on the decline. I just think if he came to Manchester United, you know, he would be another Alexis Sanchez. Plus, he's injury prone. I think this is now his 6th season with Real Madrid. His ratio is still very, very good, even though he is an injury prone player. Obviously, he's had experience of playing in the Premier League. You know, he had 6 good years with Tottenham when he was younger. So basically, he learned his trade in the Premier League, you know, did Gareth Bale. But you know, I wouldn't be keen on him now, you know, coming to Manchester United, even though, you know, the rumours, you know, do continue to persist. Obviously, you know, Real Madrid, you know, don't even want Gareth Bale, and Real Madrid are looking to sanction him off this summer. I still maybe think Real Madrid maybe could get around 50-60 million pounds, but they won't recoup the initial 85 million pounds I paid for him from Tottenham back in 2016. So I wouldn't like to see Bale as part of the deal for Paul Pogba. But yeah, I think Paul Pogba is potentially going to, obviously, you know, we're going to need a replacement for him. And yeah, I think Bruno Fernandes, as I said, you know, would be the right solution in my opinion. Obviously, there has been a lot of talks about Benfica's João Felix, and Manchester United are also keen on getting a deal over the line for João Felix. Reports came out the other day that Manchester United want to wrap up deals, you know, for the Portuguese duo, and it did say ultimately that it would cost Manchester United around £150 million for Bruno Fernandes and João Felix. It is saying that Manchester City are interested in João Felix. I think Liverpool have been linked to him in the past as well. I think Liverpool had a bid turned down for him in January, but he's primarily an attacking midfielder. He's João Felix. I think he can play as a winner. He can also play as a striker, so he is versatile. Again, he can score goals. He can provide assists, João Felix. And Manchester United have been linked to him. I think he's got a buyout clause around £100 million. Manchester United have been scouting João Felix. You know, we've been scouting him. I think we've been interested in him. We've been monitoring and interested in the last couple of months in him, but we have been scouting him, you know, and scouts have been very, very impressive with him, you know, reflecting on his impressive performances this season for Benfica. He only broke into the Benfica first team last year, so he's done really, really well. He's only 19 years of age, so Manchester United have been heavily linked with him. So he's been another target for Manchester United. But there's been quite a few other midfielders, you know, that Manchester United have been interested in. We do know, obviously, there's been a lot of talks about Declan Rice from West Ham, and I really, really like Declan Rice. He's mainly, I think, a defensive midfielder, is Declan Rice. Obviously, you know, I'd identify him as a good replacement for Nemanja Matic, because for me, Nemanja Matic, in some of his games, he has proven himself, Nemanja Matic, but for me, he's aging up, he's too slow. I know he's well Premier League proven, and he did well when he was at Chelsea, you know, he won a couple of Premier League titles and that with Chelsea, but Matic is too slow, and I think, you know, we need a centre defensive midfielder, you know, that's fast and tenacious. I know we've got other midfielders with the likes of Fred, you know, when Fred's been playing, you know, he stepped up to the plate, you know, to be fair. You know, when McTominay, you know, has been playing, you know, he's been playing really, really well as well, but I don't know if the likes of McTominay and Fred, you know, have got the capabilities, you know, have got the capabilities, you know, to get get us to that level where we want to be. So this is why we do need a couple of additions in that midfield. So yeah, Declan Rice for me would be a good replacement, for Nemanja Matic. Declan Rice is 20 years of age. He's one of England's youngest upcoming talents. Is Declan Rice. He's been at West Ham a couple of seasons now. He's been in the West Ham senior squad, quite a few seasons. As Declan Rice, but his performances this season under Manuel Pellegrini have been very, very impressive. He's a good, energetic midfielder. He can break up the play very, very well, and I think he'd blend in very, very well in our midfield if he was to come. And I think West Ham would want around 150 million pounds for him if they're willing to do any business for him. But as I did say, maybe we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer. We've got to get the right recruitment this summer, because analysing our recruitment policy it is very, very poor. But we've got to get the right recruitment this summer. But for some people, as I said, saying maybe we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because there's quite a few players out there for a reasonable figure. Obviously, there's going to be a player out there that's obviously going to cost you around 100 million pounds. Jadon Sancho is going to cost you around 100 million. Koulibaly is going to cost you around 100 million. But obviously, we could maybe get 2 or 3 players for just over 100 million pounds. So maybe we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, as people are saying. But Declan Rice, very, very good player. I think he got a new long-term contract with West Ham back in January. So he has got a contract with West Ham until 2024. So potentially, Manchester United have been linked with Declan Rice. We do tend to know that there's been a lot of talks about Everton's Idrissa Gueye as well. Idrissa Gueye would actually be a good replacement of Fernando Herrera, would Idrissa Gueye. Idrissa Gueye is 29 years of age. He's a Senegal international. He's actually, the same age as Ander Herrera, but combining Idrissa Gueye and Ander Herrera, you can say Ander Herrera's had better the career than Idrissa Gueye. But Idrissa Gueye, still well Premier League proven. He's been in the Premier League a number of years. I think he's mainly a defensive midfielder. He can break up the play. He's an energetic midfielder. He's good at pressing opponents. His passing ability is very, very good. He's Idrissa Gueye. I think, as I said, he's been at Everton a number of years now. I think this is now his 3rd season now with Everton. He's a former Villa player. When he was a lot younger, he played for Lille, did Idrissa Gueye. But there were reports coming out saying that Idrissa Gueye, could be available. For a reasonable figure this summer. It did say, was it about 2 weeks ago, something like that, he could be available for around just under 30 million pounds this summer. Could Idrissa Gueye, but 29 years of age, well Premier League proven, and so there has been a lot of talks about him going on, but would emphasise him as a replacement for Ander Herrera. I think Everton paid just over £7 million for him from Aston Villa. I think they triggered a release clause in his contract and got him for just over £7 million. He initially signed a 4-year contract with Everton, but obviously in February of last year, Idrissa Gueye got his contract renewed with Everton as well. So Manchester United have also, been interested in him. So yeah, there's been quite a few midfielders, Manchester United have been interested, but we definitely we need some creativeness in that midfield. We need some tenacity in that midfield, and we need someone, that can basically, score goals and provide. And I think Bruno Fernandes, definitely, would be the right candidate indeed, because he can score goals, he can provide, as he proved in that game yesterday. Sporting Lisbon won 8-1. He scored, I think he got an hat-trick, also got an assist. So he's a very, very good player, is Bruno Fernandes. And as you all do currently know, there was a lot of news circulating around the media during the weekend about Lyon's Moussa Dembele. It did say that Manchester United have showed an interest in him. It did say, according to the media, Manchester United have been in talks with Lyon over the summer move for Moussa Dembele. And maybe a lot of Manchester United fans wouldn't like to see him get recommended in, Moussa Dembele. I think a lot of Manchester United fans were interested in Moussa Dembele, of course, when he was a lot younger, when he was at Fulham, where he began his senior career, Moussa Dembele. But Moussa Dembele, has proven, he can score goals. He has done it with Lyon this season. I don't know how many goals he scored. Is it 21 in all competitions this season for Lyon? It is only his first season in France with Lyon, because obviously, Lyon got him last summer from Celtic for just under £20 million. He did sign a 5-year deal with Moussa Dembele, so he's under contract with Lyon until 2023. I think he's valued at around 40 odd million pounds. He's only 22 years of age, so he's still got a lot of years ahead of him. But he was good when he was at Celtic. He had 2 good years with Celtic. Did Moussa Dembele, and he did really, really well with Celtic. Let's be honest, the Scottish League is a pub league, let's be honest. But he's done really, really well this season with Lyon. But I think he's valued at around 40 odd million pounds, and Manchester United have been in talks with Lyon over the summer move. It did say also Arsenal were interested in him. It did say Arsenal have instructed scouts, to keep a close eye out on him, reflecting on his impressive performances this season for Lyon. And it also said that Atletico Madrid have also, been interested in Moussa Dembele, and we'd actually identify him as a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because potentially the likes of Rashford and Martial have not yet graduated to that level, and obviously they're not reliable enough to get us them goals at the moment. Rashford and Martial, and the likes of Rashford and Martial have been in a really bad form, as we all know, and they need a reality check. I know Martial hasn't played in the last couple of games for Manchester United, but he's 23 years of age. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him, and Marcus Rashford, his performances have been way below par in the last couple of months. And Marcus Rashford, as we all know, he hasn't emulated to that level yet, and he's only 21 years of age. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. But his performances have been really poor in the last couple of months of Marcus Rashford's. Marcus Rashford's performances have been way below par in the last couple of months, so he hasn't graduated to that level yet. It's going to take him at least a couple of years to graduate to that level. But as I did say, if Lukaku is to leave this summer, and I think it would be beneficial for us, as I did say, it will help us with our transition. We could identify Moussa Dembele as the replacement for Romelu Lukaku. But there has been a lot of talk going on about Romelu Lukaku. He has been linked with the likes of Juventus and Inter Milan as Lukaku. I think he's keen on making a move to Italy. If Manchester United sanction him off this summer, he's enjoyed a very difficult second season with Manchester United as Lukaku, because mainly Rashford's been first choice ahead of him. But Lukaku, for me, he hasn't got the capabilities to play to the highest level, and when it comes to him playing against the big teams, Lukaku, he's a big game bottler. His first touch really concerns me. He did well in his first season with Man United. He scored 27 goals in all competitions in his first season, but he's failed to replicate that this season as Lukaku. And Manchester United paid £75 million for him, plus 15 million in add-ons, which had risen it to £90 million. He's still got 3 years left on his deal, and he's on about £250,000 a week with Manchester United. He's Romelu Lukaku. But potentially, yes, I think he's attracting interest in the likes of Juventus and Inter Milan is Lukaku. But I think he did admit that it would be his dream, playing in the Serie A. And recently, Lukaku's agent admitted his future is very open. But he's still got a very good pedigree in the Premier League. Lukaku, he scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. But for me, just not reliable enough. Doesn't really get enough runs in behind. His finishing assets is poor. He can slightly perform better when he's getting that support up front. He can look a bit more effective than Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, I think we need to get rid of him in this summer, Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, we are expected, as I said, to orchestrate a big summer clear out. I think up to at least 5 or 6 players, could leave in this summer. What's going on with David De Gea, as we all know, obviously, Manchester United have not yet come to an agreement, of course, to get David De Gea a new contract at the club. Obviously, recent reports did say Manchester United were willing to offer him £300,000 a week, but I think De Gea is demanding that he wants around £350,000 a week. De Gea is still under contract here till the summer of 2020, because obviously last year Manchester United activated a 12-month extension. So if we can't come to an agreement to get him a new contract, obviously Manchester United will want to obviously cash in for him this summer rather than letting go on a free transfer in the summer of 2020. Obviously I think he's heavily linked with a £90 million move to PSG. Reports were coming out the other day saying that Paris Saint-Germain were willing to offer him a £450,000 a week contract. That's actually currently more than double of what he's currently on at the moment with Manchester United, because he's on about £200,000 a week at the moment with Manchester United. Obviously, we do know that Real Madrid have been long admirers of him, but David De Gea, I've admired his fantastic career at Manchester United. He's been here 8 years. Of course, he's won everything here domestically. He's won the Club's Player of the Year 4 times out of the last 5 years. I think he's made over 300 appearances in all competitions, and he's potentially one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Is David De Gea, 28 years of age, so he has still got quite a few years ahead of him at least, but potentially one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And if he is to depart this summer, obviously we're going to need a replacement for David De Gea. But obviously one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priorities, of course, is to keep David De Gea at the club. We do know one player that's certain to leave Manchester United in the summer, and that is, of course, Antonio Valencia. Are we going to give him the farewell appearance on the last game against Cardiff? Because we do know he's leaving this summer when his contract expires. Because obviously we know that Manchester United opted against the decision, to give Antonio Valencia that new 1-year extension. We had the option to trigger that extension, but Manchester United opted against the decision. Valencia's been a good servant. This is now his 10th season at Manchester United. He's won everything here domestically. He's made over 300 appearances in all competitions. So are we going to give him a farewell appearance on the last game? He's initially just been out with a calf injury. I think he's been out injured for a long time, but reports came out the other day saying that Valencia has returned back to training. But yeah, obviously, we're going to need a replacement for Antonio Valencia this summer. Obviously, we're going to need an upgrade to Ashley Young. Ashley Young's past his sell-by date now. Ashley Young's 33 years of age, nearly 34. By the time his new one-year extension expires, he'll be nearly 35 years of age. So that was bad business from the club, giving Ashley Young, that new one-year extension. But this is Young's 8th season out at Manchester United. I think he's made like over 300 appearances in all competitions for the club. But back in the day, he was a good player. He was a good winner. Back in the day, was Ashley Young. But I say we've had his years out of him, and for me, he needs to be dropped for this game against Cardiff. He should have been dropped. Against Huddersfield, Ashley Young. But he is the problem. Is Ashley Young. But I think he needs to definitely go in the summer. But we definitely need a right back. And I know Diego Dalot, is a good player. He's still in the process of developing. He's only young. He's Diego Dalot. He's 19, 20 years of age. Manchester United, of course, got him from Porto last summer for around £19 million. But I still believe we're going to need a backup, to Diego Dalot. And there's been quite a few right backs mentioned. I really like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, from Crystal Palace. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, of course, is 21 years of age, but I don't really see us getting Aaron Wan-Bissaka for now, because obviously I think he's fully committed to Crystal Palace. I think he's intending on spending at least one more season with Crystal Palace. Is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but he's only 21 years of age. He's one of England's youngest upcoming talents, and I think his defensive capabilities are very, very good, and I think he's got the abilities to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years. But I think he's committed to Crystal Palace, and he's only been in the Crystal Palace senior team for 14, 15 months, and I think he's gone to make 40 senior appearances for Crystal Palace as Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and I think he would be valued at around £35-40 million. His performances have been impressive under Roy Hodgson, but I think he's fully committed to Crystal Palace, so we're not going to get him. I really like Thomas Meunier, and he's an experienced fullback, is Thomas Meunier, and there were reports coming out, was it a couple of weeks ago, saying that Manchester United are considering making a move for him this summer, and it did say PSG were demanding that they wanted around £20 million for Thomas Meunier. He's 27 years of age, so he is highly experienced. He's been fantastic in France with Paris Saint-Germain. I think he's been there a number of years. I think he's only got 13 months left on his current contract, because obviously he hasn't signed a new contract with PSG. But potentially, I think he's predominantly a right back, but he can play in other positions as well. So he's versatile, but he can score goals. He can also provide. So I do think he'd be the right solution for Manchester United. But we definitely, we've got to address that right hand side, because obviously, we are lacking on that right hand side, definitely without a shadow of a doubt. So do you think Thomas Meunier would be the right solution? It did say the likes of Arsenal and Chelsea were also interested in Meunier, so there has been talks about him going on. But as I did say, we need a central defender, someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof. And Phil Jones, his performance was absolutely woeful against Phil Jones' performance was absolutely woeful against Huddersfield yesterday. He made a lot of misplaced passes, made a lot of mistakes, did Phil Jones. And Phil Jones is no longer good enough, to represent Manchester United. He's been a long-serving player at the club. This is now his 8th season at Manchester United. He's Phil Jones, but he's got to go in the summer. And obviously it was a bad mistake for Manchester United, giving him that new long-term contract. And same situation, with Chris Smalling. I know some of his performances he has improved, Chris Smalling, when he has played, but as I said, he's no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. Chris Smalling's been here about 9 seats. I think he's been here about 9 years now at Manchester United. Smalling, again, bad business from the club, giving Smalling that new long-term contract. So yeah, definitely where we need a central defender. I would love Manchester United, to go out and get Koulibaly for Napoli, but as I did say, a player of his calibre obviously wants to be in Champions League football. Koulibaly, a player of his calibre, wants to be in Champions League football. There's still a possibility, we could get him. I don't really see us getting Koulibaly, because I don't even think he's got any intentions of leaving Napoli. Obviously, we do know if we've got any chances of getting Koulibaly. Obviously, he's going to cost us around at least 100 million, or maybe even 110 million. So obviously, we've got to pay a world record fee for Koulibaly. But if he was to come in, Koulibaly, he would address our defensive deficiencies. He would be a great leader in our back line. It would be good for him to experience the Premier League, because obviously he's never played in the Premier League, and he's been fantastic fantastic in his number of years in Italy now with Napoli. I think this is now his fifth season with Napoli. This is his fifth season now with Napoli. I think he's made over 200 odd appearances in all competitions. He has got a contract with Napoli till 2023. But I think back in January, Manchester United were in negotiations. I think back in January, Manchester United had 3 bids turned down for Koulibaly. 3 bids turned down for Koulibaly. I think the recent one was £95 million. But of course, we was heavily linked with him last summer. But he's a very, very good defender. He's 27. I think he's nearly 28 years of age. So he has still got quite a few years ahead of him. So yeah, Manchester United are still linked with him. But there is a much cheaper alternative, to Koulibaly. That's obviously, Tottenham's Toby Alderweireld. Toby Alderweireld is nowhere near the same calibre or level. Toby Alderweireld is nowhere near the same calibre or level as, the Koulibalys or the Rafael Varans and all that. But, for me, Toby Alderweireld, would be a good upgrade in our defence. He's well Premier League proven as well. Don't get me wrong, I've got reservations about him because Toby Alderweireld, 30 years of age, his age, he has lost that yard of pace, but he's been in the Premier League a number of years now, so he does know the Premier League inside out, does Alderweireld. So I do think he'd be a good sign, if we recommend him in this summer. Obviously, he's got a 25 million release clause. Obviously, Tottenham activated the 12-month extension back in January, and included this 25 million release clause, based on, Alderweireld's refusal to sign a new contract with Tottenham. I think he's made over 150 appearances, in all competitions, for Tottenham as well. But he's 30 years of age as Alderweireld. But don't get me wrong, I have got strong reservations about him. But he could possibly, be one of our first signings that comes to Manchester United this summer. But Man United were linked to him last summer. But obviously, we couldn't come to an agreement to get Alderweireld. So he's been a potential Manchester United target. But as I did say, I think Eric Bailly, is another player that's going to be on his way out in the summer. Eric Bailly, Eric Bailly's enjoyed a very, very difficult time, this season. As I said, he hasn't really been given the chance, and I think he needs to go in the summer because for me, Eric Bailly's too injury prone. Don't get me wrong, I really, really highly rate him. I think he's got great potential as Eric Bailly. He's been at Manchester United now over 3 years. I think Manchester United, of course, paid around £30 million from Villarreal, but for me, he's too injury prone, and if a new centre back is to come in, obviously his future is going to be in serious doubt. Is Eric Bailly, so I think he needs to go in the summer. I also think that definitely Marcos Rojo is on his way out the club because he's enjoyed a very, very difficult time at Manchester United. I also think that Matteo Darmian's definitely on his way out the club because I think Manchester United I think they've triggered that extension, so that does mean we can cash in for Darmian this summer. If we can get rid of him, he just recently recovered from a long-term injury as Matteo Darmian, but he hasn't really had the opportunity at Manchester United, so I can see him leaving this summer. Alexis Sanchez, he's another player, of course, that's definitely got to leave Manchester United. Alexis Sanchez, because Alexis Sanchez has just been so inconsistent as a Manchester United player, and he did get a rare start yesterday against Huddersfield. Did Alexis Sanchez? He did get a rare start against Huddersfield, and he didn't do too bad, to be quite honest, but you can just tell he's no longer playing to the highest level. Alexis Sanchez, he's lost that yard of pace, plus he's age 30. I think reports were coming out the other day saying that Manchester United are willing to pay half his wages off, to sanction Alexis Sanchez off this summer. I don't know what teams have been interested, but as I did currently say, I think his wages are affecting our club. I think it's having a really, really bad effect on our club. His Alexis Sanchez's wages. I think he's on about £400,000 a week, is it, something like that. But as I did say, it's totally affecting our wage structure in a bad way. But as I said, he's been here about 15, 16 months now at Manchester United, and he has sustained quite a few injuries as well, and that's not good enough for a player that's the highest player at the club, the highest paid player in the Premier League. So we're willing to get rid of him this summer. Same to Juan Mata as well. There has been recent reports coming out about Juan Mata saying that reportedly Brighton are willing to offer Juan Mata a 2-year contract reportedly. Juan Mata, I think he's going to be leaving in the summer, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. And I think he's been impressive in his last 2 games for Manchester United, where he has been given starts and been given the opportunity. Because initially, he doesn't really get in the team now, but he played against Huddersfield, he was impressive. He played against Chelsea, he was impressive. But he is 31 years of age now, as Juan Mata, and he's no longer, playing to the highest level. He has lost that yard of pace as Juan Mata, and I think, he does perform well, when he's playing in that free role and when he's in that number 10 role. I think he performs very, very well, Juan Mata. But it did say, Brighton are trying trying to persuade him, to remain in the Premier League, because Brighton are reportedly willing to offer him a 2-year contract, and Brighton want to get him when his contract expires this summer. I think it did say Manchester United are willing to offer Juan Mata a new 1-year extension. It won't be a long-term contract, as I said, because obviously he's 31 years of age now, he's aging up, but I think Man United are willing to offer him a new 1-year extension. There were reports coming out saying the other day that he could make a return back to Spain, because he had a lot of experience of playing in Spain when he was younger with Real Madrid and Valencia. It did say that Barcelona were in talks of getting him on a free transfer, but it did reportedly say that Juan Mata would have to take a pay cut on his £170,000 a week wages if he wants to make the move to Barcelona. But don't get me wrong, as I said, Juan Mata's been a great servant to the club. He's been in the Premier League a lot of years. I think it's about 7 or 8 years in total. Obviously, he's been at Manchester United 5 years. Obviously, he spent 2.5, 3 years with Chelsea, when he was a lot younger. But yeah, he's been a very, very good servant in the Premier League as Juan Mata. So I could possibly, see him going in the summer. But as I did currently say, the majority of these Manchester United players, do need a reality check. You've got to question the mentality of the players. They've got to take responsibility. But just looking at the squad from back to front is potentially not good enough. We're not being ruthless enough in front of goal. We're not being clinical enough. We're not scoring enough goals. We're lacking. There's no heart. There's no desire. There's no passion. We're lacking leaders in the team, and this is why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United and that we've got to be ruthless in this summer transfer window, and of course we have got to rebuild. But based on our poor run of results and performances, I think the majority of the blame is on the players. As I said, I think some of the blame does stem from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because some of his tactics are questionable. I think some of the blame as well does stem from Ed Woodward. Some of the blame also stems from him. But essentially, reflect. We've got to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time. Without a shadow of a doubt. But reflecting back, when Alex Ferguson, was at Manchester United, I know we had 20 odd years of success, under Alex Ferguson, but he didn't win out in his first 4 years. Did Alex Ferguson? Of course, he was on the verge of getting the sack, and then look after that, what he accomplished and achieved. And we had 20 odd years of success under Alex Ferguson. I think one mistake Alex Ferguson made, was recommending David Moyes in, and now obviously some of that blame stems from Ed Woodward. Of course, for Ed Woodward employing David Moyes, because obviously David Moyes didn't have that winning mentality. The strappings of the club were too high for David Moyes to handle, and he only had a short tenure, had about 8 or 9 months. I think David Moyes recommended 2 players to come in, so it didn't work out under him. And then obviously Louis van Gaal coming then, and then everybody thought it was going to change because he did pretty good with Bayern Munich. Obviously Van Gaal, and then it didn't work out under Van Gaal because I think he totally killed our style of play, and we spent over £200 million under Louis van Gaal era, but it potentially didn't work out under him, even though we did win the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal. And then obviously we got Jose Mourinho when he got recommended to come in. Didn't work out under Jose Mourinho, even though he won two trophies in his first season with the club. Obviously a lot of money was spent under the Jose Mourinho era. I think just under £400 million was spent on 11 players. But yeah, it didn't work out under Mourinho because obviously, he had bad disputes with the board, he had bad disputes with the players, and obviously last summer, the board weren't backing, some of it, weren't backing, the signings, Jose Mourinho, of course, I wanted to recommend to come in. So as I did say, none of this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so this is what I mean. He is still in the process of rebuilding. As I said, he's going to get around £250 million to spend this summer. I still believe that the club's number one priority target is obviously, Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho, and I would like to see a player of Jadon Sancho's quality, come to Manchester United, don't get me wrong. And I think, if he was to make a return back to the Premier League, it would create a better platform for Jadon Sancho, but we need someone that can play between the bylines, put crosses into the box, and, Jadon Sancho is capable of doing that. He's been at Borussia Dortmund a couple of seasons now. He's actually a former Manchester City player, where he did serve a couple of years, but he never really got the opportunity at Manchester City, did Jadon Sancho. But either way, I think it could go against us, because obviously, we're not in Champions League football for next season. I think a player of Jadon Sancho's calibre wants to be playing to the highest level, wants to be competing, and, wants to be competing and wants to be, up there, winning trophies and stuff. And obviously, Manchester United, I think we're at least 3 or 4 years off from being a competitive elite level football club again. And obviously, as I did say, it's going to take us 3 or 4 years, to graduate, back to that level. So obviously, we've got to rebuild this summer. But Jadon Sancho, I really, really like him. He can score goals, he can provide, and I think he's the club's number one priority target. Manchester United, of course, have been heavily linked with him. Borussia Dortmund have been known for doing business with their players in the past. But either way, it's going to cost Manchester United around at least £100 million, is Jadon Sancho. So Manchester United, of course, have been heavily linked with him. So for me, I think the fans that are demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be out, as I said at the beginning of the video, are total idiots, because obviously, he needs time. And I think, as I did say, some Manchester United fans, are becoming pessimistic about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, based on our poor run of results, and, performances and all that. But as I did say, I still believe he's the right man that can elevate this club forward. But we've got to give him time, and I will be on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's back in the new season, if everything, does start to go all wrong, and that's when I will start criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But till then, I will be backing Solskjaer, because he's going to need backing this summer. We've definitely got to get a director of footballing as well. So yeah, we've got to get the right players in this summer. I know it's going to be extremely difficult now, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was saying, prior to the Huddersfield game, that he has been contacted by a number of agents saying that their players want to come to United. I don't even know who these players are, but this is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had said. But he still believes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. So yeah, it takes time. It really, really does take time. We've got to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time. Don't forget, he knows about the club inside out. He was a great, great player for 11 years with Solskjaer, but he's got the experience of a player, but he hasn't really got it as a manager, and that does concern me. But we'll have to see what happens in the summer. See who he brings in, see who leaves, and then we'll take it from there. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing to the channel. As always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.